From the studios of ABC News, it's time to dig deep with Bob and Alice's weekly archaeological podcast.
Welcome to the deep dive, Stonehenge. I mean, everyone knows it, this timeless enigma. But here's a puzzle, right?
Uh-huh.
Why isn't this massive, astronomically aligned monument built on the highest ground? There's literally a hill 30 meters higher, just 500 meters off.
Yeah, it's always struck me as odd. And today, trees often block the solstice views anyway.
Exactly. So this is where researcher Robert John Langdon comes in with his book, The Stonehenge Hoax, Stonehenge's Location. Pretty bold title.
It is, yeah.
Our mission today is basically to dig into his pretty radical theory about where Stonehenge really was, its original setting. And spoiler, it involves water.
Well, what's really interesting is that this isn't about saying archaeologists somehow missed the obvious. It's more a reevaluation, looking at how much landscapes can actually change.
Okay.
Langdon's work sort of makes you rethink things, makes the seemingly impossible, possible when you look at the evidence differently.
So let's unpack that location problem a bit more. If the main point wasn't skywatching, especially given they dragged stones 200 miles from Wales, I mean, that's a huge effort.
Monumental effort, yes.
Then something else must have been crucial about that specific spot.
Okay.
Langdon argues access to the area was paramount, maybe?
That's precisely what his post-glacial flooding hypothesis gets at. If you look at, say, elevation maps, even a standard ordnance survey map, you see it.
Do I?
Stonehenge sits right beside this feature called a dry river valley, or a paleochannel. Locals know it as Stonehenge Bottom.
Stonehenge Bottom.
Okay.
A dry valley.
But was it always dry? Langdon's core idea is that back in the Mesolithic, the Neolithic, groundwater levels were way higher. We're talking maybe up to 100 meters higher in places, affecting specific ancient river terraces.
Wow, 100 meters.
Yeah, dramatically different. And it means the River Avon would have basically filled that dry valley, making the water level about 30 meters higher than it is today, right by the stones.
Okay, that's the big shift. So Stonehenge wasn't just out on some plain.
Yeah.
It was, as Lincoln puts it, built on the side of a hill surrounded by water, like on a peninsula.
Exactly, a peninsula jutting out into this watery landscape. And you can see it if you look at modern data, like high-res LiDAR maps. That's the laser mapping tech.
Right, LiDAR shows the ground details.
It does. And those maps, other profiles too, they clearly show these sort of watery features wrapping right around the monument. It paints a completely different picture.
So this completely changes how we think about why it was built there and maybe even how.
Absolutely. That Stonehenge Bottom wasn't just a ditch. It was likely an active waterway fed by springs back in the Mesolithic. Think practical resources, water, transport maybe.
And probably ceremonial significance too.
Yeah.
Water often has that.
Very likely. It was also a kind of historical road junction, it seems. And this whole shift from wet to dry, well, it could explain why maybe earlier archaeology didn't fully clock these hydrological features. The evidence got buried, literally.
Makes sense. The landscape changed around the evidence.
Right. And we even see hints today. Remember the controversy over the A303 road tunnel near Stonehenge?
Oh, yeah. Big delays, big arguments.
Well, part of the problem was engineering complications because of the, you guessed it, high water table and these natural fissures in the chalk. They were even worried about sinkholes. It echoes that ancient watery past.
So thinking about this deep dive, we've looked at how just re-examining the water situation using things like LiDAR totally flips our view of Stonehenge. It wasn't just stones on a plain. It was this grand monument on a peninsula surrounded by water, a really dramatic setting.
It really was. And that leaves you with a pretty provocative thought, doesn't it?
Go on.
If Stonehenge's landscape was so different, so watery, what about other ancient sites? How many places that look dry today were actually key waterways for our ancestors? What else are we missing about their world, their connection to water?
Thanks for joining us on today's podcast. If you want more, visit our video channel with over 150 blogs and podcasts. If you enjoyed this, please give the like button a tap and subscribe to catch next week's upload. Until then, stay curious and we'll see you soon.